Well, we drove the ID.5 around a month ago, so we thought it was about time to get behind the wheel. It's Volkswagen's first fully electric SUV, the new ID.4. I'm Ben Quirk, welcome to Planet Auto. Yet another vehicle built on the MEB platform. So you've got the ID.3, you've got the ID.4, and then you've got the ID.5. And that's the thing about it, it's so scalable, it's modular. It means you can have batteries laid out, you can have different lengths, you can have different this, you can have different that. VWG are onto it. I think that's the only way I can put it. Their electric vehicle, well, they amaze you. It's not just the styling, it's not just the functionality. Well, yeah, that is one bone of contention, to be honest. There's no rotaries in there whatsoever, but we'll take a deeper look at the interior in a moment. But the styling, the way the EV powertrain works, the smoothness, the acceleration, the comfort, the fact it feels it's welded to the road. These are all mega pluses. Now this starts at around 40 grand, but ours is closer to 60. But saying that, you do get a 315 mile range. Styling, well, it's very ID. This has been on the cards for a fair few years. And if you take a look at the Cross, you'll see how ID started life. And yes, that was a concept vehicle, so yeah, they're pretty radical. But when you look at how far it's transferred across, it's pretty damn close, to be honest. It's simple, it's minimalist, very clean design, very modern, what you class as futuristic Volkswagen. Ooh, look at the curvature, wow. But it's also got diamond-esque styling here, and this bottom chunky valance. And look, this is all solid. Automatic lights, high beam assist, and yes, they're LED. And look, a front camera, safety-wise, well, it's equipped to the 9 as you'd expect. AEB, we've got convenience like adaptive cruise control. They're 19-inch wheels, which is quite mind-blowing in itself. So you probably get 24s on there, but the benefit of having a tyre with a profile like that means it's quite quiet in the cabin. So it's rather refined. But don't worry, when you're going slower, you will hear the engine, or sorry, the electric motor, ramp up to make it far easier for people to hear who are knocking around pedestrian crossings, etc. Now there's one design cue that always seems to transfer over on Volkswagens, and that's this. Even on the Polo GTI it was in a very similar place. But that's because they're proud of their heritage. Everybody can tell a tale about a Volkswagen. I mean, you all know we've got our Mark II Golf 16 valve, and we've had it 17 years. And that's the thing, a lot of people have a lot of belief in the brand, and it's sturdy German. Need I say more? And the side also has a rather clean design, but this is all to make it coefficient and drag friendly, or words that make it not economical per se, but I suppose more miles per range. Let's take a look inside. So yep, as you can see, slimmed down door handles, and this isn't just for the look, it's also to make it efficient. Ooh, blue mirror caps and silver roof rails and a black roof. This colour here, I know I'm getting further and further away from the door, but it's just the design language is pulling me in, but that's a good thing. These are keyless entries, literally, and it will release. Door opens nice and wide. Stepping in, well, that's not going to be a problem in the slightest. Look at it, at 6'3", I'm going to have no problems. Soft touches here, ooh, and I am a fan of this taupe. Very retro, that's almost like Mark I Golf colours. So you probably heard it buzz into life, and that's because you don't need to actually start it. As soon as you sit on the seat, it knows you're there, and yeah, that's it, literally. Play ball, so hit the brake and drive, and you do that using a rather novel shifter, twist and go. So drive, brake, neutral, reverse, and park at the end. That's a nice touch. So play in your accelerator and pause on your brake. Leather wrap steering wheel, and lots of soft touches. Stitching, and if you've noticed, everything's angled towards the driver. Lovely infotainment screen. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, lots of apps, Wi-Fi, navigation, and that will also display here. Yeah, it's not the biggest cluster, but this seems to be a serious trend, especially across VWG. And to be perfectly frank, I quite like it. You don't need a mega cluster when you've got this, and it essentially does most of the things that you're going to do anyway. It's literally all touch screen. And this is responsive, it's easy to use. Got some shortcut buttons here, so all this is pretty much automated, so you don't really need to do very much when you get in, but you can dismiss windscreens, windshields, etc, etc. And yes, it can tow. Got a power tailgate, not a bad door pocket either. Well, that's a solid clunk. The build quality is second to none. Everything is relatively sturdy. Yeah, you'll find hard plastics, but it's more for robustness, making it easy to clean. The thing about something like this is, well, Volkswagen have thought, why would you want everything covered in a nice luxury soft material? You're going to have children in it. And as Annabelle would say, little people like sticky things. This makes it far easier to clean. But at the end of the day, you can't compromise on seats, and these are beautiful. So you've got ID etched here, comfortable supportive seats, and I think they're vegan friendly. Volkswagen are using lots of recycled materials. For example, I think it was one of their concept vehicles used something to do with apple pulp. And it was nice to see that come to fruition. And because it's an SUV, you sit a little more raised up. So it's like driving, say, well, an SUV or an MPV rather than a car. And also, you've got things like this. Armrest. Just makes driving a pleasure. Because that's it, you're not supposed to go hooning into bends in this. Even though it will do it, as we demonstrated in the Q4. But now, in a nutshell, it's very nice. I just wish there was more rotaries and proper buttons. But that's the way things are going. Oh yeah, you've also got heated seats.
And if you look, you can see them in the bottom right of the infotainment screen.
We've also got a heads-up display. It shows things like road sign recognition, speed. So my seat is, well, it's not what you class flat on the floor because of its design, but I think it works perfectly fine, to be honest. We've got a decent view out the windscreen and headroom, even with a panoramic. Well, you can see about that. That's a point. Let's open this. How do you do this? Oh, you just brush your finger across. Now that is one heck of a panoramic. Talk about light and airy. I've also noticed good old Volkswagen, adjustable seatbelt height, and a grab handle above every door. This is the drive modes. Essentially, the most important button in the car. Well, to me anyway. Let's take a look in the back. As it's an electric vehicle, it's got 2 pedals, but you do have a lovely footrest. Let's take a look in the rear. Door opens nice and wide, and yeah, hard plastics at the top of the door. The lovely torque once again, a nice padded area. Climbing in, well, that looks simplicity. And yes, it is. Wow! This is cavernous. That's the thing about electric SUVs. They've got loads and loads of room. I mean, considering this is set for me at 6'3", I could have a picnic in there. Feet fit under the seats, and we've got mat pockets on both seats. They're making a comeback. And look, smartphone pocket. It's what you might call a rather pleasant place to sit. I mean, just look at the sunshine through that mega panoramic. It's comfortable, it's spacious. I do like this white stitching and the mix of materials. It's all premium. I thought this would be soft. Pull down armrest and a ski hatch. Excellent. Considering I'm sat like I would in something like this, I've got probably about an inch of headroom above me, which is perfectly fine at 6'3", to be honest. If I lean right back, which I never would, my hair slightly brushes. The other thing is, I've noticed that this seat is quite raised up, so you've got a great view out the windscreen. Map reading lights. That's it. Volkswagen think of pretty much everything you're going to need. And some kind of coat hooky type thing. Airbags around the vehicle. And you've got ISOFIX points too. And in the centre, we've got Tri-Zone and some USB-Cs. So you will find hard plastics, like I mentioned. You've got a decent door pocket, electric window, and I am a fan of this styling. So you can actually put your hand here. It's quite clever. It's quite ergonomically designed. Comfortable, but it's funky at the same time. Very futuristic. So here's where you charge it. Just pops open, and it's Type 2, home charge, and rapid. And I think it's around 135 kilowatt. I think that equates to, say, 10 to 80% in around 40 minutes. Not bad when you think you've got 315 mile range. Look at the fatness of these arches. Talk about flared. And the fact that the roof tapers in here. Lovely design language. Beautiful but minimalist. Lots of fancy LED lights. Sequential indicators. And using this kind of light technology means you can, well, sculpt can put things like light bars and then stagger. It's artistic. And the thing about LED lights is they're far safer. Diddy wiper, it would have been nice to see that hidden under there. But that's the stealth side of me. Works perfectly well. You've also got parking sensors and a 360 with the reversing camera that's here. It's nice to see plastic arches on things. I mean, it also gives it, I suppose it's like an SUV and rugged type of look. But to be perfectly honest, the first thing that takes me back to is classic GTIs. Power tailgate. Now that's a decent boot. And that's a benefit of a vehicle that's been built on a platform that's actually been, well, engineered for electric. It means that the batteries take up none of the cabin space or the boot space. So you've got extra storage there. And look at that. You lift this, that's where you find your charge cables. Virtually no boot lip and storage points here. And 60/40 folding seats. Nice and easy to remove the parcel shelf. There's a serious trend with this at the moment. People are making these far easier. You've seen this on Volkswagens for years. On other manufacturers, you'd be able to see where this was bolted on, whereas it's all nicely trimmed. It's just, you know, well finished. At 6'3", I can virtually stand under here. That's always a plus for me, especially loading something like, say, a mountain bike. So you release by pushing this way. It's not the heaviest bonnet, so that's great. Ooh, strut brace, lovely. Apart from that, it doesn't look that electric-y. Welcome behind the wheel of the rather quiet ID.4. So Volkswagen's first electric SUV, and it's built on the MEB platform. I think it has around 203 PS, so 150 kilowatt.
And this is quite aptly the family trim, isn't it?
It is. Just need a cap. Well, it likes coasting, I'll give it that.
Ooh, that's rapid.
That's the thing, isn't it? Because we drove the Polo GTI first, we're like, ooh, this is rapid, but it's a completely different power delivery to say this, with this electric powertrain that's instant.
That's it. That's it completely. It's a different ball game, isn't it?
It is. Oh look, a Golf. So this has a range of around 315 miles. But if it drives anything like the Q4, which it likely does, well, it's going to be what you call economical regenning at will. Because when we took that down to Goodwood, we were absolutely staggered, weren't we, at how far you could go. I mean, we never thought we'd get virtually all the way to Goodwood on one charge, did we, from the lakes?
No, but the amount of regen just meant that it was a simple journey down, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Stress-free.
Well, it meant that we didn't need to recharge.
Yeah, stress-free.
I do like electric SUVs. They feel so well planted. And that's it, they handle well. Because they feel composed through the bends due to their weight. And the fact that you can regen and then change driving modes and make it a bit quicker, a bit nippier, more agile, etc. You know, more responsive.
Check this out, this is nice, isn't it? I think this is just Aino's village.
It's
lovely.
Hootle
round here.
Whoa, that's a classic Astra Mark III.
Yeah, in that classic Astra blue.
Considering the size of this, it's very little body roll.
No, it seems agile, doesn't it?
Yeah, but they are, you know, it kind of comes with the territory of one of these, doesn't it? Banbury Road.
Ah, Banburyist. It's still very serene.
It's such a pleasure to drive. That's it. If you've not made the jump from petrol to hybridity and EV, etc., try it at least. Because that's it, the biggest fear was range anxiety, wasn't it?
But the infrastructure has come on leaps and bounds now.
Not just that, the ranges have increased pretty much across the board, haven't they?
And it continues to improve.
So the thing about these is they're rear wheel drive and a 50-50 weight distribution. So they handle as well as they look.
Please turn right in 500 meters.
Refinement in the cabin is not bad considering this motorway looks motorway. Don't know where I am. This road looks like, well, not the best, is it?
No. But it eats the potholes up.
Look at that for cornering.
Yeah.
Didn't dip. I expected that corner to dip and it didn't.
The B for 1031.
The B for 1000. B for Sutherland, yeah. Steering, lovely and weighty. Nice and direct, it gives good feedback. It's got great touch to it too. Well, no wheel spin. Manages to power well. Okay. Favourite bit? Let's try some modes.
Let's have a look at that.
So eco, comfort. Oh look, sport. Yeah, that makes it just a touch more responsive. Regen as well, so far heavier. Now, let's try turning this to B. Oh, even heavier. So yeah, one pedal driving without any problem whatsoever. Oh look, road sign recognition. So it's telling me there's a bend and we're in a national speed as well. Great handling, nice acceleration. Pretty damn good SUV really. Now this is the family, but if this isn't quick enough, I'm sure you can get a GTX. We certainly can on the ID.5.